I think I've come to a point where I'm sort of outgrown the Ninja. As much as I love this bike, the style of riding that I'm doing is it's not really suiting it. Like, this thing's great for just tearing over the mountain, but you know, I'm starting to get out and explore and put some real Ks on it now, and yeah, it's not the best bike in the world for touring around the countryside. I'm looking at moving on. In fact, I'm on my way down to Brisbane as we speak to take a couple of bikes for a ride. So I thought while I was out here I'd do a bit of a long-term review. So the thing handles really well. Obviously, sports bike, 600 class, you sort of can't compare with the way these things handle. I've owned a few Ninjas, and this particular one is probably the best handling of the lot of them. I don't know what they've done, because I had a 2006 before this. This is a 2008, which is essentially the next model, and this thing handles way better. So they've obviously made some kind of changes to the chassis or the suspension, whatever it was. It fucking worked. The power on this bike's pretty good, fairly typical of a 600cc. Like, it's I wouldn't say it's anything special compared to any other 600 on the market. What I don't sort of like is the way this thing delivers its power. So it revs up to about 19, maybe 19 and a half before it hits the limiter, but it's just it doesn't sort of hit peak torque until nearly 12,000 RPM. So it fucking revs for days, and it's got plenty of power. But particularly if you do a lot of filtering and you pull up at the front of a line and there's some fucking dickhead in his BMW sitting at the front of the line, and he's got it in his head that you're an arsehole because you filtered and he doesn't want you to get in front of him, so he's gonna floor it off the line. That's when this really fucking gets you, because when you've been filtering and you're dealing with a guy like that who's got all of 3 brain cells if he counts twice, he doesn't care if he hurts you in the process of trying to get in front of you. It's just all about getting in front. So when you've been filtering, you really need to get off the line quickly, and this thing just doesn't do that. The ergos are pretty typical of a sports bike, which is to say fucking not very good. It's got a fair amount of handlebar vibration, and obviously the seating position is very aggressive, as you can imagine with a sports bike. Yeah, if you kind of try and sit upright, you end up with sore wrists. If you bend your elbows like I tend to do, you end up with a sore back. I mean, it doesn't help that I'm not the fittest guy in the world either, but yeah, if you're going to be riding this thing any more than about an hour, you're gonna really regret it. This bike's got Bridgestone battle axes on it. I'm pretty certain that's what it came out with from factory. I'm a huge fan of Bridgestone, just because, you know, I used to work for them and I know what their manufacturing process involves and the quality control and all that sort of stuff. So I like Bridgestones. These are pretty good tyres, although I feel that they've worn pretty quick. But I suppose for a road bike that gets ridden mountain roads fairly regularly, they're doing alright. They've just worn a bit of a flat spot in the rear tyre, and you can kind of feel it a little bit now when you're tipping it into the corners. This thing engine brakes really badly. Like, it's really strong. You may see that as a good thing. I suppose for a track bike it is really good, but on the street, where, you know, sometimes you want to take your right hand off the throttle for a second to I don't know, scratch your ass or get the pins and needles out of your hand or whatever you're doing, it'll lose 20 kilometers an hour worth of speed in about 3 seconds, even in 6th gear. So, you know, like, it slows down real quick. One thing I will say about this bike is the balance is really good. And I know that sounds a bit funny because, you know, like, all bikes sort of balance really well, you know, with the centrifugal inertia or whatever the phenomenon's called that allows us bike riders to stay on two wheels. But particularly you notice it when you're riding it with no hands, you know, like you can just sort of take your hands off the handlebars and it just feels really balanced. It doesn't want to veer off to one side. So in summary, I suppose it seems a little bit sad. I feel like I'm saying goodbye to this bike, and I suppose I sort of am. There's a small chance I may not be coming home with this bike today, and yeah, it's a bit sad. Like this has been a good bike, even though I haven't had it very long. I feel I definitely had more fun on it than any other of my bikes that I've ever owned before. It really is a great bike, you know, a decent exhaust system on it, and yeah, this thing would be really good. So, anyone want to buy a Ninja? Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this. Support's always appreciated. Leave a comment, hit the like button, and make sure you subscribe. Thanks very much. See you next time.
Fix this.
Looks like he's been fucking
Very technical.
on the bike for years, doesn't it?
Here. Alright. Come up here.
Not exactly getting the knee down, but he kept some nice flow all the way down the hill.